Welcome back. Well, with Assad's promised economic reforms taking shape, we wanted to find out if young people think they'll have an impact on their lives and what their job opportunities after graduation will be. This is what they had to say.
No, I'm studying medicine, no. I don't know if I will complete but I think I will complete.
We're both studying medicine.
Medicine, it is not difficult to have a job after graduate. I think it's not difficult.
It's a little bit hard in Syria to find a job, but if you study well and you specialize, and did you specialize
In the US or something.
Yeah.
You have to get a good degree, and it's definitely going to be more demanding. Like, you have to work on yourself, you have to study more, you have to do courses in English, you have to do courses in computer. You have to have the extra things that make you want it.
For us as a doctor, it's easy, but for other majors, maybe it's depends on them. Maybe it's difficult.
To get a job coming less than past. Maybe people coming around and everything change. I think for doctors it's easier to get a job.
There is a lot of change here, but we must need more change, more companies, more strong economy.
Welcome back. We're talking about economic reforms in Syria. Still with us, our guest, Mr. Nabil Sukka, former World Bank economist, and Mr. JIHAD al-YAZJI, editor of the Syria Report. And joining us now, Mr. Manaf Abdel Ghani, engineering student here in Damascus. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Let me go to Mr. Manaf, who has just joined us. Mr. Manaf, you're a student, and as you know, unemployment is very high here in Syria. Do you have any concerns once you graduate? You might be just one of millions without a job here in Syria.
Well, actually, I'm a senior student at Damascus University, Department of Environmental Engineering. Conversely, most students who undergo academic studies and education, they find a job on the side. Most of them just to help them with the costs and the expenses.
I don't think this is the feeling among thousands of students here in Syria. You talk to them very often. Do they have the same concern about doubts about their future?
Well, most students as well. In my university, I could tell you about my case. Engineering students, they undergo training. They have sort of agreements with engineering firms and offices. So they start preparing themselves for the job market. However, maybe the number of students, the number of academic graduate students
is very small.
Outnumber the job openings.
This is one of the serious problems facing now the Syrian government. Let me go to Mr. Nabil Sukka. You have a new reality, a new platform of economic reforms. The problem is that most of the university students are not well trained to take new positions. Does the government, have to change this policy?
Yes, definitely. The government is aware of that, and the government is introducing education reform both at the secondary level and at the university level. The problem is that there is a mismatch between the graduates that are coming out to the market and the needs of the market today as we move to a market economy. So there is a mismatch. And second, there is a problem of the quality of education the students are getting in schools. Unfortunately, in the past, we focused too much on quantity, on spreading education as much as possible, but it was at the expense of quality. And now there is a feel that there has to be a focus on quality on the part of the government, and it's changing curriculum, is changing the way education is carried out. It's focusing, is emphasizing on training students to be innovative. And
in this case, Mr. JIHAD al-YAZJI, we have young people. The majority of the Syrian population is very young, and in practical terms, how can we bridge the gap between the high demands of the private sector and the free market and the market economy, and with the level of education which is lagging far behind in terms of technology, assets, all that stuff?
Yes, you're right. It is a major issue here, especially when you talk about the managerial level, the mid-managerial level. The companies here have a lot of difficulties finding people who are qualified enough. Language skills are poor, for instance. Computing skills are poor. Analytical skills in general are poor. Few people take initiatives. These are things that are entrenched, that have been entrenched for decades. And so actually, in practice, the solution is only a long-term one. No one should expect, to find a quick solution to this. But you are having private universities. As Dr. Sakar said, curriculum are changing. So the government is aware of this. Students are aware of this. You can't imagine the number of students that know that they need to take English language courses besides their university education because they know that they don't have these skills. But it is only a long-term, actually, problem.
Mr. Manaf, you're a student of engineering student, but do you think that your colleagues who have gone to a department of literature, philosophy, or history would have the same
opportunity
that you may have in the future?
Not really. The way people are motivated to study is based on your high school score. You are being placed in different specialties of areas of studies. So people go first for medicine and engineering because they think, giving the social status, being an engineer or a doctor puts you on the top of that social ladder.
So do you suggest the government should introduce reform of the universities in a sense that would take into account the change in reality here in Syria?
The criteria of choice has to be revolutionized, and people should be able, college students should be able to say, if I went to English literature department,
what I'm going to do
I should have a secure job.
You've heard what Mr. Manaf has been saying. The criteria should be revolutionized here in Syria. The problem now is we've seen the same problem in different countries, from Casablanca to the Gulf countries. People are saying that I need to go to the university knowing that after 4 years this is the place where I'm going to go with benefits, which doesn't seem to be the case here.
No, I think the students have to see to it that there will be opportunities for them in the economy, and the government is more and more creating these opportunities by introducing economic reforms. But at the same time, the universities should focus on developing or creating people who are innovative, creating entrepreneurs, creating business leaders, creating people who can think freely and constructively, who can analyze. So it's both sides. We have to do both.
Okay, but
and at the same time, the students themselves have to realize that there is room for them in the market economy. Unfortunately, many of them think that when they graduate, it's the government where they want to work.
But the situation could be worse in the future. Let me go to Mr. JIHAD al-YAZJI. The government is saying now, I have different priorities. I need to rebuild the country, infrastructure, and all that. I don't think that I will be in a position to inject more cash into universities and education. Do you think that the private sector, for example, should step up?
The private sector should step up, obviously. Now, the issue here is one of, it's a question which goes much broader, much beyond the economy. What is the future role of the state? Is it to educate or not to educate the people? The private sector should step up. But again, here, the major problem you have with private sector, private universities' tuition fees, which are extremely high. Many universities charge as much as 100 or 200,000 Syrian pounds a year, which is the equivalent of a full year salary for an average employee. So that's a major problem. So the government is actually has no choice but to continue to put money into the education sector. It opened a year ago a new university in Deir ez-Zor in the eastern part of the country, because there was no university. And so at the end of the day, you are going to be in a situation where the public sector will be present and where the private sector will be present.
We've been talking about economic reforms. Let me go to Mr. Manaf Abdel Ghani. Have you felt any benefits of these economic reforms that has started 8 years ago, you as a young Syrian?
Personally, I could say I haven't seen any, but because I haven't hit the job market yet. But I always I know that Syria has a job creation program that has started many years ago, and people are still lining up. But they all say they've been put on a waiting list, and as we speak, people are still waiting for a job opportunity to come, maybe in the next who knows, or 8 or 9, 10 years maybe.
Gentlemen, we have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Nabil Sukkar, former World Bank economist, and Mr. Jihad al-YAZJI, editor of the Syria report. Mr. Manaf Abdel Ghani, wish you good luck in your career. And thank you for watching Inside Story. We welcome your comments and views. Please email them to us at the following address, which appears on the screen: insidestory@aljazeera.net. Goodbye for now.